Boys! The story is simple. Nah, I'm just kidding. But I might edit that into the beginning of my YouTube video. Do you guys remember? None of you probably remember. Ramses, the Pokemon trainer main. You guys want to see? You guys want to see that? This is me against Space. Now the number 2 or 3 in Europe. And this was the first month. And I remember this game. I remember game 4 because I was 2-1 ahead, but he was winning this game. So he was winning this game, and look at my play. Look at my play. Right? We got the solid Ivysaur zoning, solid keep away with the aerials. Forward air, get the kill. Easy. Easy. We're back in this, boys. Charizard. Nah. Squirtle time. He doesn't give me because, you know, we kind of sucked at the matchup. I dropped my combo. Look at this game, guys. This is horrible. Go to Ivysaur. Again, we keep him out. Ivysaur was bae back then. Very strong before the nerfs, even though I didn't like playing Ivysaur as much as Squirtle. Squirtle was definitely my character. Look at the full hops, but he's not gonna get the KO because up throw up air doesn't work too long on Squirtle, right? So we're switching Mons, we're chipping him out. He's not finding the kill. He wants to throw out the roller, it's not happening. And suddenly it's getting scary. 75. If that grab landed, I would have won. Suddenly it's getting scary. 85. That down air? How did that miss? Come on, Sakurai. You give me a big down air and you're gonna let it miss? I want to frame by frame that. Oh, actually it was a little bit too late. This character, it was literally 1 frame off. It would have hit him on this frame, I'm sure of it. But that's okay. I started off as a PT main. Yep. 85. 2-1 Ramses. Ramses is winning. My dumbass is feeling so pressured right now. I'm making the comeback, but I'm at 183. He's hitting me. So the back air, I almost die. I'm like, I need the big boy. I need to end this because there's not a lot of game. There's not a lot of game left. 200+%. And I go for the flare blitz and I lose. That game, that was my game to win, bro. That was my game to win. And look at the way he was scared, bro. Dash up, roll. I almost had it too. That sucked. That crushed my mental game, and then I lost the final game pretty badly. But man, like my Pokemon trainer was kind of nice. I'm not gonna lie. Even though, you know, like they did make me quit the game. So, for those of you who don't know, I actually got the game before it released. Don't tell Nintendo. I put on the eye patch and I went online and got the game. And yeah, I mean, I had a lot of fun with Ultimate at first. Ultimate actually came out on my birthday. The more you know. Actually, 7th of December. That's my birthday. So, what's up, Lancelot? So I got the game, and actually I took a month off in December to grind the game offline. So I played the game before release, I think for about half a month, a little bit longer, I think about a month. And then I spent the entirety of December grinding it out. And at the end of December, we had Dawn. And I just remember like being so hyped going into Dawn. Before Dawn, we actually had another tournament in Amsterdam, and I think third was Gijsbeer, and top 2 was me and Semi. And we actually played in winners finals. He played Young Link, I played Pokemon Trainer, which at the time we didn't know was a really bad matchup for Pokemon Trainer. But in winners finals, he beats me 3-2. That's pretty heartbreaking, but I make it back into, or in winners finals, he beats me 3-2. I make it back into grand finals, and the first set, he actually, I think he wins 2 games in a row. And I'm like, shit, I need to do something different. So what I do is I'm like, God gave me this down air, this Ivysaur down air. And I mean, don't get me wrong, guys. It might have been Sakurai, but I'm convinced it was divine inspiration that created that move. So God gave me this downer, and I might as well use it. So instead of trying to win neutral, which is impossible against Young Link when you're Pokemon Trainer, I decided, you know what, I'm just going to throw this guy off stage and just downer him every single time. I won 3 games in a row. The reverse 3-0 to win the first set of Grand Finals. We go into set number 2. I have all the momentum on my side. I win the first 2 games. We get into game number 3. We're at last stock. I'm at like 150. He's at like 70. I'm Ivysaur. I grab him at the ledge. I down throw him. And I up B his ass. We get the kill screen. And he starts flying off. And I breathe a sigh of relief. I was like, shit. This is the game where he got all the momentum in his hands. And this is where I can lose. This is the end of the road for me. So I down throw him. I up B him. We get the kill screen. 3-0 victory, right? We carried the momentum to the end. But no! God gave me Ivysaur down there, but took the dub away from me. He survived, and I actually SD'd trying to recover. So if you guys didn't know, when Ivysaur is like, when you have the stage, so if this is the stage, I did the up B right at the ledge, so my Cabbage Dog is up here, falls down, and then I try to reverse up B to the ledge, but if you're at the same distance at the ledge, you actually don't grab it. And I used my double jump, to get the up B, and I SD. So I lose game 3. I'm like, alright, we have 2 more games to make this happen. But it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen, guys. Semi wins with the reverse 3-0 on the reverse 3-0 that I got in set 1. So that was my first tournament in Smash Ultimate. I had a whole extra month of practice as compared to Semi. So I was distraught at that point. I was like, this guy literally played the game for like 1 week, maybe 2 weeks, and I had like a full month in which I played offline a lot, and I lost. Now I know that the matchup is undoable. Now I know, but back then I didn't, and it sucked. It actually hurt me a lot. Then we had Dawn, in which I lost to Space, and I had the same exact fight. I was like, I have so much extra practice compared to this guy. Because when Ultimate came out, I'm like, this is gonna be my game. This is good. Like, if you guys didn't know, in Smash 4, I was good. I was number 21 in Europe, and in earlier versions of the ranking, I was actually like 17th. I know because I saw earlier versions. And after it released, I was 21st. I actually beat Ixis, who was the number 2 in Europe at the time. So effectively, I was top 20 in Europe. Also, like a few people above me quit as well, right? So like, I was really good in Smash 4, but I wasn't really at the top of Europe. And I always attributed that to the fact that I started later than everyone. So when Ultimate came out, I was still in school. I was doing uni, and during uni I didn't play at all. I actually started playing after I was done. So that was in 2016, which got me like a 1 year, a little bit more, maybe even 2 years. When did Smash 4 came out? A 2-year deficit compared to the rest of everyone. Something like that, maybe like 1.5 years, right? So I always attributed the fact that I wasn't all the way at the top at the fact that I had less experience than other people playing Smash 4. So for Ultimate, I was like, I'm gonna start grinding this shit from the get-go and get really good from the get-go. So I looked for a main. I was considering Zerasuit because I try out Zerasuit every game. I liked her. I was considering Greninja as well. Greninja wasn't really it. And eventually I settled on Pokemon Trainer because I actually had a Pokemon Trainer secondary back in the Brawl days. I played a lot of characters in Brawl. So Pokemon Trainer was basically what I settled on. But then I flubbed in my first tournament, even though I got second, that still felt like a flub to me. Then in this tournament I lost to Space, and I lost to Ezreal. And you guys, like, it was off stream, but I can tell you, the only thing I remember is how it ended. So it was game 5, if I remember correctly. I was Charizard against this Cloud. And I tried to roll in. I did a normal getup from the ledge, and I tried to roll behind him, and he forward smashed my normal getup. And it whiffed, but because Charizard is so thick, because he has such oh, his curves are just too much. I got caught in the forward smash as I was rolling behind him, and I died at 70%. That's how I lost. So my first tournament was a heartbreaker. My second tournament was a heartbreaker. And then my third tournament was Valhalla. Lancelot, thank you for the sub. I actually played Lancelot in Valhalla. So Valhalla was my third flub, actually. I got 5th seed, which is pretty good. 5th out of all those people, that's pretty good. I went into Valhalla, and I was doing both commentary and playing. And as I was playing in my pools round, I think 3 against Mersu, they started calling my name during the game. When I explicitly went up to the desk and said, I'm gonna be playing now, please don't call my name. So while I was playing, they kept repeatedly calling for me over the intercom, and I was so distracted, you guys don't even know. I actually fell behind. I had to like get a comeback going. Mercy played well. I don't want to take that away from him, but it was so annoying. So I actually lost in my pool as the 5th seed due to Pac-Man. By the way, what was the stage list for that tournament? We had Final Destination, Omega Wileys, Kalos, Town and City, I think even one more. We had like so many open stages that like there was nowhere to go against Pac-Man. Dude, have you ever played on Omega Wileys? That stage is, no, it wasn't even Omega, it was Hazardless Wileys. That stage is huge, and it has walls. But it was Hazardless Wileys. It's big. It's really big. It's bigger than Pokemon Stadium 2. So we played on all these huge stages. So like Pac-Man was a little bit better too, right? So the first thing, like I go into losers from the get-go, which is already like, okay, I'm fucking mad, right? Because like I felt like it was partially because of the circumstances. So I play into losers, and my first round, it was a reset, right? So if you get out of losers, it affects your seed, but in day 2, you still get put back into winners. Everyone starts in winners. So my round 1 was Light, who was, I think, the 3rd seed of the tournament, something like that, or like the 4th seed. So I had to play Light in my round 1, which is crazy. Light actually beat me, but it was pretty close. So I had to go into losers from round 1. And I fought losers round after losers round after losers round. I actually did pretty well, until I faced Whoopi, who played Belmont. And everyone was like, yeah, dude, Squirtle destroys Belmont. You should be fine. And then he just like holy watered me every time I was on the ledge. And Squirtle actually doesn't do that well against Belmonts, just so you know. Pokemon Trainer tends to struggle a little bit with Zoner characters. So I lost to Whoopi, and I think I got like 9th or 13th, which is not bad for a major, but it felt like a flop in my heart, right? So we had flop 1, we had flop 2, we had flop 3, and then came flop number 4. Flop number 4 was Tech Republic, and Tech Republic is probably my worst tournament ever. I got 13th, alright, makes sense. Tech Republic, okay, so in winners I lost to Mark Bree, which made sense. Mark Bree is pretty solid, and like, I didn't have a lot of cloud experience at the time. But then in losers, I had to play against this guy who literally played all the Miis. So what he would do is we got into game 1, and I think he played like Mii Brawler or something, right? So he would beat me with Mii Brawler, then I adjusted to the matchup, and I would beat him the game afterwards. And then he switched to Mii Sword Fighter, and he would beat me, and then I adjusted to the matchup, and then I beat him the game afterwards. And then he switched to Mii Gunner, and then he beat me. So that's how I lost. I got like 33rd or 45th, something really like below what I wanted to be. And it was the fucking Miis, and at that point I was checked out, dude. I was not happy about Smash Ultimate. Meanwhile, in that same year, on January 2nd, I met Cersei. If you guys know Cersei, she's a mod in the chat, my girlfriend, and that kind of started taking up some time. So I started disliking Smash Ultimate. I started having a relationship, and at the same time, my commentary career popped off. So the reason I was at Valhalla and Tech Republic in the first place is because they booked me for commentary. And my slot at Valhalla did so well that I got like 500 followers, something like that. It was like my best slot ever, right? I commentated with Max, I commentated with Virm, I commentated with Bam. My slot with Bam was awesome. So like I started focusing on commentary, and at that point I quit Smash Ultimate after Tech Republic. And there's actually a few like legitimate complaints I had about the game and that I still have. First of all, PT is not a viable character if you want to be the best. I'm sorry. I know you PT players are in the chat, and everyone who hates PT is gonna hate on me for this. But I don't think PT is viable if you want to be the best. I think they lose like 15 matchups, something like that, which is too many in a game like this where everyone plays every character. Like, I think they lose too many matchups, and their disadvantage is too poor to be super consistent, in my opinion. This actually fucked with me a lot, because I didn't know who I did want to play. I tried Zero Suit, but she wasn't for me. I'm still not a super much of a Zero Suit believer. I think Zero Suit and Pokemon Trainer are around the same level. I tried Joker, and I like Joker, but he's not really for me. I'm not a big fan of the Arsene mechanic. So overall, I just felt like PT wasn't really the character I needed for my goals. And on top of that, I was focusing on commentary and my new relationship, which got in the way of practicing all the matchups. Practicing all the matchups. So learning a matchup with PT is actually a lot harder than learning a matchup with other characters, in my opinion, because you have to learn how all of the three characters interact with the opponents. And it's not just like, you can go for the natural progression of like Squirtle neutral, Ivy juggles, and offstage, Charizard killing, which is fair enough. But there still will be situations where like you gotta play the neutral with Ivysaur, and then you better be ready for that. So I feel like it takes a lot to be a Pokemon Trainer main, and it didn't really fit what I was focusing on at the time. And you guys have to keep in mind, at this point in time, I was flying out for commentary about once a month, maybe once every 2 months. So I was away from home a lot, and like after I fly out, I also need to like recover for a while. Plus, I had a 9-to-5 job, right? So I also had a job. Plus, Ultimate's online is actual ass. Like, no cap, I think I played a lot of Smash 4 Wi-Fi. I played about an hour a day, every day. Ultimate's online is actual ass. So overall, like, PT really, really fucked me up in terms of how much I enjoyed the game. The second thing is, I'm a slow learner. And that's not a matter of, like, me, like, literally learning slow. It's a matter of, like, I only activate when I've figured something out. So I thrive off of situations in which I figured out what I need to do, right? So when I understand the theory and all like the ongoings behind the interaction, that is where I'm really good. I'm really strong in that situation. But early on in a game's lifespan, it just hasn't been figured out yet. So like I basically struggled a lot with early Ultimate because like I didn't really know the answers exactly yet. That's also why, looking back at it, I probably did better in Smash 4 because I came in later and I got to skip like the early figuring out phase of the game. So when I came back to Ultimate as a Shulk player, there was already an established meta. So I'm not a slow learner in the sense that I pick things up slowly. I'm a slow learner in the sense that like I only exceed my current expectations if I know a lot about the subject matter. So I'm more of a slow starter, I should say. I'm a slow starter. So that's another thing that really bothered me. And then finally, mashing is broken in Ultimate. So like being a slow starter in combination with like mashing being such a strong strategy, that actually that fucked me up for a long time. Because like I was trying to figure out, okay, what are the optimal options? How do I cover as many things as possible? And people would just like run up to me and start pressing buttons. What do I do about that? So it was definitely hard for me because like a lot of the people a lot of the people in NL could continue maining their Smash 4 main too. So like we have Azrael Cloud, we had Mary Peach, we had S1 Ness, we had Shuck Greninja, we had Ice Studying Greninja. Right, we had young Eevee Bowser Jr. We had so many people who had a character that they were already familiar with. Unlike me, I was playing Pokemon Trainer that could succeed by basically playing very aggressively. And that was hard for me to deal with as well. How is mashing broken? Because you have to counterplay it very specifically. Like, if you want to beat mashing, you have to play very precise, you have to play very accurately, and from there, you beat the mash. But if you're still figuring out what your game plan is, it's a lot harder. So like all these people had a head start of me because they're playing the same character. Plus, generally the way they approach the game worked better for Ultimate or in general for early meta than it did for me. So like a lot of mechanics didn't sit well with me. Think like spot dodge canceling, right? Think things like low aerial landing lag. Think things like parrying instead of power shielding. All these things were like they were hard for me to get used to. And there's more than this, right? I actually wrote a tweet longer. Let me see if I can find it. So that was the 4th of March 2019. This is when I quit. Right? This is when I quit, so it's about 2 years ago. So I started the game off with the hard grind. We talked about this. So like I basically felt really, really bad, and at this point I was really considering quitting. I just spent a month of my life grinding this game, and now I have to go back to work because, you know, my month off stopped, and go back to spending way less time of it. If during this period I couldn't get good enough to make it where I wanted to be, how could I ever get there afterwards with even less time, right? And I know PT also factored into this. We talked about it. It requires a little bit more experience. But I also already started playing less after Valhalla. So I actually like Ultimate a lot, but at the same time there's a few things I dislike. I feel like the entire game is based around committing and faking out commitments, whereas in other Smash games you could follow your character's game plan. All the characters have the same game plan in this game. This is still very true in the sense that like it's a little bit more nuanced now, but like the difference between Wolf A and Wolf B is very hard to notice. Because like even the difference between how Wolf plays the game and how Greninja plays the game can be very hard to notice, because like the unique option of characters have been nerfed and the universal options in the engine have been buffed. So in Smash 4 you had things like Corrin Pin, Mewtwo Shadow Ball, Bayonetta Witch Time or Up B at a Shield, even something like Cloud Becker. Like all these tools were so strong and unique, and eventually I was like, all these characters are just doing the same thing. I'll get to that math. So due to this focus on commitment, low commitment moves like Inkling Becker, Wolf Laser, etc. become super obnoxious. So this is basically mashing. Before we called it mashing. We didn't call it mashing back then. Yeah, so like the game also becomes less deep because you have the same objective. It's all about like faking out approaches, establishing burst range. It's very similar. But these are some of like the negatives. I often get punished because I feel like I should be able to pressure, but due to the low commitment nature of the game, it's a wrong gut feel, which means I overcommitted. And while I understand that's just a difference in the game and a matter of experience, it still feels unfun for optimal play to be a lot of waiting and defensive gameplay. It always feels like my counterplay to a lot of options is commit less, or bait them in, or hard commit to it when you have the read, when all these options feel kind of boring. So again, didn't really like the game. Then we talk a little bit about characters, blah blah blah. The game has too many characters to ever consistently win, that's facts. Not for Shulk though, Shulk is broken. And then like the way I lose, I mean you guys probably notice, but like I have a history of dying at super percent and losing to like stupid things. Like my up B getting a skill screen and then not winning, or rolling in and then losing to a forward smash that I was rolling around anyway. Stuff like that just happens to me a lot, and it really got to me mentally at that point. And then my life, of course, it's like commentary, personal stuff, work, etc, etc. So at this point, this was my lowest low, and I actually took a break for a long time in 2019. And then eventually, I kind of decided to get back into the game when I was grinding with Petrino. I don't know if you guys know Petrino. He's a Fox and Terry player from the Netherlands. And we were playing one day. And I was trying out this character, Shulk. And I don't even know why I started playing Shulk. I just kind of picked him up at a certain point because I was like, I want to get... Yeah, Terry, he plays Fox too still. And I kind of just felt like Shulk fit my needs, right? So I wanted a character that's not like Pokemon Trainer, that's like deep like Pokemon Trainer, but that also is a little bit more dominant so that I don't have to learn every matchup. So Shulk can do a lot of things that he can kind of do in every matchup, you know what I mean? So we played some, and whenever I played Pokemon Trainer, he would just like body me. Of course, I didn't practice a lot in this era, but playing Shulk, everything went a lot more naturally. And he was like, dude, you should just main Shulk. And I think that was just before Syndicate 2019. That was 25th of October. So I think it was a week before that. So it was around this weekend of like the 18th to the 20th. And that is when I decided to pick up Shulk. So I had a break for, I think that's about half a year, a little bit longer than that. And yeah, then I started picking up Shulk, but I didn't start grinding the game. I just played a little bit of Shulk for a few months. And I think around the beginning of lockdown, I started actually grinding. So I think about March, so about a year ago now, I started actually grinding Shulk. So actually, before that, I took Shulk to a lot of locals, but I just lost so much that I didn't feel like it was worth starting to invest. Because again, I'm a slow starter, right? So I gotta figure this shit out. But Shulk is a really hard character, so being a slow starter, plus having a complicated character didn't do a lot for me. So I lost and I lost and I lost, and I lost a lot in this entire period until lockdown started. And I tried to figure things out, but I wasn't really committing because I was busy doing commentary still. I was busy with my job still. I changed my job in 2019 as well. And I started coaching, or in 2020. I changed my job in 2020 as well. And I changed my job in 2019, and I started coaching in 2020, so there was a lot of other stuff going on as well. But then I picked up Shulk, and that is kind of where everything started clicking. So I finally got a character that didn't feel like it held me back in terms of how much I needed to know. So like Shulk is you still need to know a lot about Shulk, but it feels like if you do so, you actually get a lot out of it. Whereas with Pokemon Trainer, if you learn a lot, that's kind of like the beginning, you know what I mean? And for Shulk, it's like you can apply a lot of generic strategies even if you don't know a matchup, which makes me feel like I don't auto-lose if I don't like super hard grind all of the 80 matchups in the game. I feel like Shulk doesn't have like 15 losing matchups like Pokemon Trainer does in my opinion. And overall I just had a lot more fun. So like as a player, I played Zerasuit, I played Corrin. They're like very mid-range characters. Whereas when I played Pokemon Trainer, I liked Squirtle the most, who's nothing like that at all. So I also got a character archetype that fits me a little bit better, which is Shulk, like the mid-range monster, right? So things started falling into place, and that is how I basically got back on the Smash Ultimate train. So that's the story. I almost quit because the game sucks, but I managed to make it happen. I switched characters, and the character switch is what saved the game for me. If I never picked up Shulk, I probably wouldn't have been a player still. Like, the character really makes the game enjoyable for me. He has a lot of depth, which is awesome to access. He's a very good character, which I found out I need to play like a character that's not just good enough. I need to play a character that's like at the top of the game. And yeah, it just, even when these things still suck, like splash canceling, etc., etc., at least, like, I don't think parrying sucks, by the way, but something like splash canceling still sucks. The thing that I wrote in my tweet longer still sucks, but I feel like my character's so strong that if I understand that it's strong, I can play into it. And I never felt like I could really do that well with Pokemon Trainer. So yeah, thank you guys for listening to my story. I'm sure that